Let me see. Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, let's start. And okay. What I do is I let you start just a few words. Okay, Mike, you start. Okay, I'm gonna. Is it time? We'll have 2 more minutes. We have 2 more minutes, and we'll let you start. Okay. If she's not, just a few words introductory from you, and then we start from there. Okay. Just give the topic, and that's about it. We have the Chinese webinar get a pretty pretty busy. That's good.
Oh yeah, they have a lot of people.
They have over 200 now. You are right. How many they have now?
Last time I checked was 230.
230. Probably now it's probably 250 now. Yeah, a couple of people want to talk to me. I told them I'm not. I don't want to be a doctor to treat any patients. And what I want to see is if I can get everybody wake up. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
All right. Okay, let's start. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, open up your face.
Okay. Hey, everyone. My name is Mike from Shaolin Institute. Thank you very much for joining today's webinar, Leaps of Quantum Consciousness Awakening. At today's webinar, we will learn with Shifu how to be awakened to see the future with clarity. And just a little bit background about Shifu. He's a founder of Global Zen Conscious Conference and Global Zen Conscious Alliance. And he's also the founder of Duru Academy and Shaolin Institute, as well as Duru Media. Without further ado, I give to Shifu Duru.
Hello, everybody. Over here, I named it as Leaps of Quantum Consciousness, which is based on consciousness, Zen consciousness. Zen is about freedom of the mind, freedom of the body, free from the past, free from all the attachments, free from all the emotions, free from all the stigmas. It's a total freedom of the body and freedom of the mind. And most people probably knows that I teach Kung Fu, which is attention to the freedom of the body and the freedom of the mind. Oh, here, what I see is that I'm not here to teach anybody or to share anything that is treacherous. What I'm doing here is what I see, what I discover, what I have experienced in my life. To see if anybody else see what I see, and to share that feelings, to share that information, to share what life is about, to share what we may be able to do within our life on this land, which we call Earth. So I want to serve as a clock, I serve as an alarm, especially during this pandemic. Everybody is in such a distress, almost everybody. And I talk to China, I talk to England, I talk to Germany, I talk to Portuguese people, I talk to people from Germany. Everybody is somehow got into this pandemic. The pandemic, not only the pandemic of the disease, the virus, but the pandemic of the fear, pandemic of the conflicts. So everybody indulged into that fear, everybody indulged into that conflict, everybody indulged into that self-destruction mood. That destroys plenty of energy we need to survive, to thrive, to have that vitality of life. A life without vitality, a life without coherent energy, a life without the inner consciousness, to me, is no longer a real life, basically, as a human being. A human being must have that ability to imagine, the ability to transcend, the ability to create, the ability to go beyond the outer being, beyond the visible, shallow, petty self, beyond that appearance of the material world. So as I see, maybe it is time for all of us to wake up, to see the world in different eyes, not only from the appearances, not only from what do we feel, what do we smell with the five senses, but beyond. To see real life full of potentiality. See the life with infinity, to see the life full of consciousness, see the life comes from the origin of that cosmos. The origin of the cosmos, what I call the light or life. the original light of life, that is genius within, that heightened conscious within. When we reach to the heightened consciousness, that is resonance with the origin of that wisdom, the origin of the potentiality, origin of our each being. We see things differently. So in Chinese we say, 一念一众生，一花一世界. What it means is the way you perceive, the way you see the world, the way you see the nature. The way you see everything. You give that conscious to that potentiality, to that infinity, to that consciousness, energy wave. And you are literally build that reality you are in. The reality is what you created. You can create a reality of conflicts. You can create a reality of competition, but you also can create a reality of synergy, harmony, cooperation, and creativity. It is all up to you, because we are in this holographic world. Everything is projected, and we project ourselves. It's a two-way system. That consciousness makes so. So it is time to wake up, to see ourselves, to see our inner being. We spend plenty of time to see the outward. That visible world, that material world. The material view of the world provided us with what? Provided us scarcity, conflicts, and especially the last few hundred years. You see Newtonian idea very clearly. Everything's mechanical. Gravity is the earth. There's no such thing as gravitational wave until Albert Einstein. There's no such thing as wave and particle existence until after Newton. And you see, all that came from the quantum physics, quantum ideas, quantum science. And that quantum science totally overthrown the mechanical world of mechanics and material only. And then also you see Darwin sees things the same way. The survival, the fittest. Everything is accidental. But since I was a child, I see things differently. Not because I was born in a Presbyterian church, but because the essence of the Zen, the essence of Taiji, the essence of Taoist from China, for 1,000 years, for 7,000 years, they always see the world. Everything comes from nothing. Everything from that great void, the great potentiality. From nothing to 1, to 3, to 6, to 9 is a jumping leap forward. Is it similar? Quantum physics. So I see those days people begin to see these things because they see the world is not just appearance. There's another side of life, which is infinite life, which is without beginning and without end. The life beyond the appearance. The life beyond the outer consciousness. The real life is embedded behind the visible reality that we call infinite Zen or Chan. What is Chan? Chan is infinite freedom of the universe, infinite freedom of energy, infinite freedom of consciousness, infinite freedom of expansion. There's no beginning, there's no ending. That means Big Bang, after Big Bang, before the Big Bang, always continuous motion, continuous life. And even quantum physicists today, like Penrose from England, Sir Penrose with John Hopkins, and all believed, and that's a big possibility from mathematical standpoint of view, and then they calculated. That's a big possibilities. Over here, I'm not going to get into quantum physics or quantum biology or mathematics. What I see is life. The life. We need to wake up about the potentiality. We need to wake up of the inner being. We need to wake up of that innate intelligence. We all, according to Zen, self-natured Zen. Self-natured intelligence, self-natured ability, self-natured capacity, self-natured infinite wisdom. So another way is what I say is that I wake up from the past indulgence into the DNA theory. You go to hospital. I remember I went to hospital not long ago. And the first thing they ask you is, what is your genetics? What is your DNA? I went to the hospital for my daughter. And then they will ask her, what is my genes? What is my DNA? I say, I have the best DNA, the best genes, I don't care. And they say, oh, you have this, yeah, you have this autoimmune problems, you have these problems, your family problems. They always go to the past. So that means the life never be free, from the attachments of the past DNA, the past genetics, the past conditioning, the past. Programmed mind, programmed discs. We are self-caged. We know that we probably give birth every day, at least 300 million new cells every minute. Every minute. Billions of cells we give birth. But if we give birth of those billions of cells, trillions of cells, according to the past, according to the old ideas, according to the old genes, according to old DNA, called old conditioning, we're not really create anything of new cells. Basically, we're attached to the past. There's new cells growth. It's all dead cells. If we're diseased, we create diseased cells. That's what it is, because it's connected to the past. So that's why I say awakening. Let's free ourselves from the past, from the thoughts, from the emotions, from the DNA, from the genetics. That's why today we have epigenetics. Play the genetics totally differently. Get out of that thoughts. Deep out of that old ideas, old mechanics, old material things. That's why it's quantum leap. I remember, I said many times, people believe whatever they believe, you know. The doctor said, you want to be able to live as a normal person is impossible, you know. You are able to do Kung Fu, it's impossible. You're able to do tumbling, it's impossible. You're able to do a normal life, it's impossible. But everything is possible. You know, Bruce Lee is a good example. They told him he would never be able to live a normal life. I'd never be able to do Kung Fu, but he did. He not only did Kung Fu, he became the internationally most energetic star. And my theory is that if you can create a cell that is different from the past, you can create 2 cells different from the past. You can create 300 billion cells, 100 billion cells, 1 trillion cells different from the past. And you renew your life. If you are willing to let the past die, let your yesterday die, let your old selves die, create brand new. Even though I just think of it that way, I do that way, I rewrite the disc that way, that's what I call Kung Fu. And I experienced that so many people, and they did exactly what I see they did. A lot of my patients, you know, according to doctors, they're supposed to have 1 year, half a year, 3 months. But I lived much, much longer. Some people with me, 2 or 3, today they live thrive life. A life with all possibilities, much healthier than ever before. But they had stage 4 cancer. They had big lump here, there. They had bone cancer. It's irrelevant. But it is relevant that we, as a human being, our stem cells can be reconditioned in a totally different environment, create totally different cells. Not only science, give the evidence, but I see one by one happens. With my eyes, with my own body, with my own mind. So recreate that self, so important. So free yourself from the past, free from yourself from the ignorance. The ignorance, the medical ignorance, the society ignorance, the belief, so-called belief. What is belief, It's all commercial. You have this church, this Baptist, that Presbyterian, that Catholic, that's Assembly of God. Everybody has different beliefs. Everybody believe, my belief is the only one. My people only go to heaven. I don't know. If I want to go to that heaven, you go, Just like what I told you that, this is nothing against any church. What I see, even though I'm not really into church system, and we're all human beings. I see the human vitality. This gentleman in Mobile, Alabama, and I left his church. I told him, because at that time I really want to study English. The people in churches are good people. But this pastor, told the whole congregation, all the Chinese people are going to hell. Why? Because they didn't know Jesus. That day I went to his office and told him, hey, your hell possibly can be heaven. Your heaven can be hell. Goodbye. It's not my prediction. They have nothing to do with me. A few years later, he was arrested, sentenced to, probably 15 to 20 years in prison because for embezzlement of the money from the College Hill Baptist Church. That's, what an irony. So what I see is not about church. Church, temples, churches, there are plenty. Forget people sometimes, they totally wrap up, totally indulged in, totally bury themselves in the dogma, indoctrination, into that appearance, the ceremonies. They forgot the real thing is about humanity. The real thing is about compassion. The real thing about human experience of that love. Let's say Jesus, a long time ago say, okay, slap my right face and give you left face. That means love. Of course, a lot of people say that come from a Buddhist, but it doesn't matter because humanity has the love. Humanity has the compassion. Sometimes we call it the very essence of humanity, and we dogmatic about, those things that is irrelevant to human's life, dissipate human's life. The ceremonies, the rules, the my best, your best, fights, conflicts. They have more fights than ever, from all kinds of political things, religious things, nationalities. That's why I see we can free ourselves from all this. I see you have synergy and you do things much, much, much with the vitality. You have a cooperation, much empowerment. That's total empowerment. You see the infinity of that potentiality and manifest it within our human lives. And you can create brand new things when you get out of that old dogma, get out of the old concept, get out of the old perception, and totally different. You free yourself. You create anything possible. You see that essence of that life, the essence of that infinite potentiality. In my life, I see plenty of those. I see a young man, who was a student of Kung Fu. When I was in Washington, D.C., he was going to do a presentation in Maryland, University of Maryland. He said, Shifu, without Kung Fu, there's no way I can do this. I knew that when he speaks, he can see he's artistic, or he had severe autism when he was a child. But that doesn't matter. Doesn't stop him anything. Kung Fu saved him. No, it is not Kung Fu saved him. He has that potentiality. Kung Fu is only a vehicle to open his mind, to open his, the possibilities, to give that a little bit effect, and so that he can enlighten himself, he can unveil his intelligence. And that's why he began to do a personal art show. That was beautiful. And he spoke at the art show eloquently. He used to be like just in the corner. He never talked to anybody. He shut his face in the corner. And the people talk to him and cry. You see the difference. We have over here in Atlanta, Muhammad Hassan. He buried his face in the sand. He buried his face in the corner of the wall. But today, he talks to anybody who want to talk to him. He want to teach anybody Kung Fu. He want to show everybody his music skills. He want to show everybody his mathematical skills. He want to show anybody who want to listen to him. What a beautiful soul. Forget about autism. Forget about all these things. Yes, according to medical field, I definitely have hypertension. I definitely had a lot of problems. I never can be able to concentrate anything. But when I see myself in a Kung Fu way, I can accomplish anything. I don't want to repeat what I did in terms of college, in terms of schools. If I can finish from elementary school to high school, the 9-year school within 2 years, less than 2 years, anybody can do that. Without following that grooved education. And become one of the top in that province, which has over 150,000 high school kids to compete for that few spots of the college. So if I believed the old dogma, if I believed that old education, if I believed that old way of thinking, I'm the stupidest man on the planet, was the dumbest person, without any brain, and only have 4 limbs, because move limbs very flimsily and fast without anything upstairs. I'm glad I didn't have anything upstairs because of the emptiness, because of the vacancy. I can put anything, download anything into my mind. That's the beauty of ourselves. So that's why wake up to see our inner potentiality, innate intelligence. We can dissolve any problems. We can go above any pandemics. And human beings have already shown that. And we have so plenty of people shown that. My SARS experience, I have seen friends with 75 years old, 72 years old, 80 years old with this coronavirus. They didn't go to hospital. They didn't go to all these procedures. So if I go, I probably died. I would love to just go to the beach because I have a beach house. 7 days, he dissolved all the problems. Yes, he takes some vitamin D, and he got to go to the sun. He gets some of the nutritions. One of the persons, and he even come to, call me to get some prescription of nutrition, and I did. All these people I see, they're all over 70. None of them went through all their pandemic fears and pressed themselves, but they all lived, thrived. So what I see is the human potentiality. What I see, human intelligence. What I see is a human innate immune system has great potential, not only to save our lives as a human being, but to thrive, to create anew. So what I call it, the coherent energy frequency, harmonize with the universe, harmonize with nature, and everything is secondary. Because that energy of a human being, that energy of nature, that energy of the universe, when they coordinate together, we call 天人合一, the heaven, the earth into one, the nature and the human being into one. Even the rocks, the water, the flowers, the space, everything has that potential mind. Everything has that beauty. Everything has that memory. Everything has that energy interaction. When you interact with each other, the universe can be so beautifully give each other the harmonious frequency. That harmonious frequencies totally come from the holographic projection of that I call CMC, conscious matrix of the cosmos, in and outer. But normally, what I see is from the inner soul. When we touch our inner being and we see that is happening. So that's why the complete freedom from that ignorance, freedom from the diseased model, freedom from the conventional way of thinking, it is so vital for human beings' survival, for human beings' thrival, for human beings rebuild a new species of humanity. Free from that, totally freedom, free from that old dogma, old conception, old conflicts, old fragmentation, which we're not. The universe is integrated energy of wholeness. That inner connection expresses everywhere, as we see. Yes, I understand, everything need, when we see the direction of the consciousness, and then when we awake to see the real reality, instead of see the appearances, and we can calm down, we can keep some silence. We stop, pray, to do business with the God, to do business with the churches, to do business with what do we want? Is to ask the universe, ask God, ask Supreme to follow us, to follow what we think, what do we want. Rather, Tao said, and as I experienced, flow with the nature, and your life will be in flow. Trust in nature, your life is going to be in flow. When you see the material world, the old says, Chinese saying is, 看山是山, 看水是水. When you see the mountain, it's a mountain, because mountain is a raw, the rocks are dead, and then they, some have trees, some don't have trees. That's 看山, 看水是水, it's just water. But if you detail, and if you really dive into that water, and dive into the mountain, you see not just the molecules, not just the atoms. You see life. You see life of the water, life of the mountain. But really, the mountain and the water are just part of the projection as each one of us, the holographic projection. It is the mountain, it is the river, it is the water. And then, and you perceive it in different stages, and you see things differently. And you perceive things differently, you do things differently, you see totally different world. And you are living in different lives with a different energy frequency. So when you see the nature that way, and you perceive the nature that way, and that the nature will respond to you, project to you that way. That natural conscious vision and your vision projected into conscious nature vision, and then that interference, that transmission, that communication provide beautiful, excellent environment in harmony with your senses and beyond your senses, into the 15 trillion cells and beyond the 15 trillion cells, into the physical consciousness and beyond the physical consciousness. That consciousness is universal consciousness. That consciousness is the life without beginning and without ending in infinity. And you will see the beauty of life. If you see the ecstasy of nature in flow with you, and you in flow with the nature, and your body mind is totally meditated into that heightened deeper consciousness of that self-being. That's what I see in our lives. That's what I see. We can all see the direction if we awaken. And we see the vision, that infinite potentiality, the infinite great void of the universe, micro and macro. And we can have that total transformation. Not only each molecule, each cell, but beyond. To project ourselves in a different light with that heightened consciousness. And then that heightened consciousness, that coherent energy frequency can expand to enlarged circle of conscious people, awakened people. It can waken other people up, can send that ripple effect in harmony, in coherence, to be coherent with nature, with the cosmic universe. So that's why I see, if we are conscious, if we heighten ourselves with internally, if we rise in different realm of life, if we get into different dimension of life, if we leave that three-dimensional chaos, if we leave that three-dimensional visible world, we can take action. Because what do we do here? From the conscious mind to the deep conscious of the cells, we can take an action to rewrite that DNA, to rewrite that disk, rewrite that old conditioned mind set, that subconsciousness, that unconsciousness. So that mindset is so important at the beginning. Wake up. When we wake up, we can build a different feng shui, different environment for ourselves. We can touch different people. We can associate with the different people. We can resonate with the different people. We can resonate with the people who are awakened. And we can expand that horizon of that energy. We can reinforce that human power. When we change ourselves, we change the world. When we change each one of ourselves, we change the humanity. That's what it is. That's why from the feng shui standpoint, from the perception, from the mindset, and then we can do something. We start from something simple as a breathe. Take a deeper breath. That's what it is. That deep breath is to breathe with harmony, to invigorate the life invigorate our mind, invigorate ourselves. And to invigorate that energy frequency signals to be so strong, to be so coherent with the origin of the light of life, what I call conscious matrix of the cosmos, the origin of the conscious matrix of the cosmos. Number one is to bring the vitality of life, to let old cells die, let yourself die, let your past die, let your yesterday die, let your emotions die, let your thoughts die. Without depending on authority, without depending on religion, without depending on nationalities, without depending on all this so-called power. But ask yourself, discover yourself, to lighten yourself up from very, very simple basic breath. And I want to see today, I want to do a little bit of breath. This afternoon, early afternoon, I did a little bit breath. Right now, I'm going to do probably a little bit of meditation. A little bit just a simple moving meditation and a sitting meditation with you guys. And see if you can see, if we can observe the inner self a bit, if we can observe the calmness of ourselves, if we can observe the transmission of the mind and the body, if we can observe any activities of the mind, any activities of our body, any activities of all our 50 trillion cells. That's what I see. If we can do that, let's start. Let's take a deeper breath. Listen to the breath. You see the body, you see the mind, you see your brain, you see your cerebral cortex, you see your spinal cord. Let's breathe in, you can count 9 times. When you breathe out, now you can count 15 times. Let's do it again. Out. In. Out. In. Out. in, out. Okay, that's 9 and 3/5. 9 3/5 is basically breathe in 9 times, 9 seconds, breathe out 15 times. Very deep. The 9 times you breathe in, you breathe all the way to your lower abdomen and let it slowly, slowly, slowly let it go. And when you go, you feel the body. You scan the body. You feel not only just that relaxation, but just to observe any activities that is happening through your spinal cord, through your brain, through your hips, through any part of the body. And during the time when you observe internally, when you observe the physical being, and then slowly you dive into, you begin to get deeper and deeper and deeper into that inner consciousness. When you get into the deeper inner consciousness, that's when you begin to lose that account. That is when you begin to lose that physical feelings. And that's when you go beyond that physical feelings. And that's when you sometimes, when you create something, and that's when you download, that's when you become intuitive. That's when you create new, brand new cells from that stem cells. Instead of clinging to the past, attached to the past, but it's totally new. That means you are actually create a new self. A new David, new Curtis, a new Barbara, a new Arat, everybody. That's what it is. So when we create that new self, and we begin to perceive things differently, because we become more energetic, we become calmer, we become more transcend from the material world. So another thing that I want to demonstrate a little bit is that basic Zen Taigong motion. It's a very simple and very, very deep into the mind, not just physical. The physical is to facilitate that energy flow. To transcend your shallow consciousness, to reach into that deep consciousness beyond feelings, from feelings beyond the feelings, from the senses beyond the senses. First, to invigorate the energy. That's through the breathing. Breathe in and breathe out, and then pause, and deeper breathe in and deeper breathe out, and that's the whole that process goes. Let's start. We're going to do sitting on a chair. You can do on standing. It doesn't matter at this point. Let's take a deep breath. Put your hands out abdomen. Take a deeper breath. 9 in, 9 out. Let's do 3 times. And then we rest hands up, in, and then extend out. And then we pause. And in, and then we out. We're going to in and out. And then in and out. And then we're going to do 3 in and out. And in and out. And in and out. We're going to repeat that again. I just want to see during the whole process. I want to see your feelings. I want to see your emptiness. I want to see your observation. I want to see your body, and I want to see your mind, and I want to see that fluidity, and then I want to see that smoothness. I want to see the integration of the body and of the mind. Let's start. Take a deeper breath in. In. Out. In, breathe in. Hands up. Out, turn. Pause. In. Now out. In. Out. Then collect the chi from heaven and earth. Breathe in. Out. In. Out. In. Out. Now in. Out. Pause. In. Out. In. Out. In, out. During the whole process, your mind is totally empty. You are in the realm of silence. Your movements are to facilitate your energy flow. Incoherent, coherent with what? Coherent with your energy vibration. And your breathing is in harmony with your energy vibration. Your breathing is in coherent with your motion into one. You feel that release. You feel that harmony. You feel that sense of release. Okay, thank you. And we can do a lot of things, but right now, that's how we do. I want to see, anybody have any questions? All right.
No question, Shivu.
All right. Thank you, guys. And I will see you in a few weeks. And I will see you guys, some of you guys, and next week.
All right.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay, Shivu. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Shivu.
I just want to ask you a few questions, 2 questions probably.
Uh-huh.
And this morning and after, and not the morning, earlier, 1 o'clock and 7 o'clock, which one you feel more to the point?
More to the point?
Mm-hmm. Awakening.
More to the point. I think it was, I don't know, to me, morning one.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the format is all good. We did constant, the talking and there's practicing, the combination of the two. People definitely like that.
Okay, what is the difference between the morning and earlier and the later to you? Just ordinary. Just I want to see the honest opinion. What do you see? And
difference?
Mm-hmm.
Good morning. Well,
what is the thing you see in the morning? That is really need to be changed, or something is abundant to repetitions, or abundance, whatever. And you see the evening. What do you see in the evenings? The later evening.